Hello, this is Ubuntu Gicha. Ubuntu has a user-friendly UI, so you can use it as is without much inconvenience or additional configuration. However, I will cover settings for a more comfortable environment. Most modern PCs use high resolutions, so they utilize scales greater than 100%. Ubuntu is likely used more often for development and media production rather than for consuming media such as images and videos. If the purpose is production rather than consumption, I personally recommend a PC that supports integer scales. Non-integer scales can cause pixel distortion. I will explain the appearance of a 100% scale increase to 125% and 200%, respectively, by re-enlarging them to ensure they appear at the same DPI. At a 125% scale, a 1 pixel border must be represented as a 1.25 pixel border, causing the light border to appear adjacent to the dark border. Additionally, the size of a 10 pixel wide cell fluctuates between 12 and 13 pixels, resulting in inconsistent dimensions. When using a PC for productive activities, even a high-resolution display can actually be worse than a 100% scale environment if it uses a non-integer scale. Although high-resolution laptops with a 16:10 aspect ratio are being released these days, most laptop screens are fixed in 13-inch and 16-inch sizes. Therefore, simply increasing the resolution makes the text too small to read. Instead, they use independent virtual pixel sizes that are not affected by the physical display resolution. 13-inch displays use dips of approximately 1600 by 1000, while 16-inch displays use dips of approximately 1920 by 1200. Most 13-inch products feature Full HD Plus or WQXGA resolutions, while most 16-inch products use WQXGA or WQXGA Plus resolutions. However, because these use non-integer scales, pixel distortion occurs. While a 100% scale resolution might actually be more suitable for productive laptops with such 100% scale are rarely released anymore. I recommend purchasing a 200% scale product even if it means investing a little more. Specifically, I personally recommend a 3.5K resolution model for the 13-inch version and a UHD Plus resolution model for the 16-inch version. As a developer, my eyes get tired quickly when looking at text and code for long periods, so I prefer 200% scale products that allow me to work clearly. If the login screen appears small even after setting the scale to 200%, it means the window scaling factor is not automatically detecting the issue. This rarely occurs on laptops but is common on custom-built PCs. The screen after login is the X window system, while the login screen is the display manager. This is because the aspect ratio manually adjusted in the settings is reflected only in the X window system and not in GDM3. You must forcibly modify the window scaling factor. I will launch the terminal. You can find and run it from the Applications menu, but you can also launch it using the shortcut Ctrl-Alt-T. Since I prefer the Vim editor, I will edit the text using Vim. You can resolve this by modifying the org.gnome.desktop.interface.gschema.xml file. I will change the scaling factor to 2. Of course, this should only be applied in a high DPI environment. If the login screen does not appear small, it is better to set it to 0 as the default. I will recompile and apply the schemas. I will log out to check. The login screen is now also displayed at 200% scale. The default position for new icons on the desktop is the bottom right. You can change this to your desired location. When the X window system was Wayland, application windows opened starting from the top left, so there was an advantage in that new icons would not overlap if they appeared starting from the bottom right. However, starting with Ubuntu 26.04 LTS, the X window system only supports Wayland, causing application windows to open in the center, and this advantage has disappeared. You can also remove the home folder icon displayed on the desktop. As I work, the number of applications displayed in the dock increases, so I will reduce the dock icons to 32 based on my personal preference. Ubuntu uses a panel mode that is a modified and stretched version of GNOME's dock, which has resulted in a longer mouse movement radius. You can configure it to not stretch, returning to GNOME's original style. Now the movement radius is shorter. Even MS Windows taskbar is trending toward a dock-style design, so it is disappointing that Ubuntu seems to stick to the panel mode as its default. The default position of the dock is on the left, but it can be moved to the right or bottom. Since 16:10 aspect ratio resolutions are the norm for modern laptops, the vertical space has increased accordingly. Utilizing this space to move the dock to the bottom is a good idea. For UHD Plus or Full HD Plus resolutions, when calculated in terms of dip, there are 120 additional vertical pixels compared to resolutions without the plus sign. Considering the top panel and application title bars, there is an extra 51 pixels remaining. If you set the dock icon size to 28, applications such as VirtualBox, image viewers, and video players can run in full screen mode without having to switch to full screen. Since many applications will be displayed within the limited dock area, it is advisable to remove any unnecessary icons from the dock. I will hide the trash icon from the dock. While the most frequently used applications in Ubuntu vary depending on the purpose of use, everyone will likely use Terminal and Nautilus extensively. While the terminal can be easily launched using the Ctrl-Alt-T shortcut, there is no separate shortcut for launching Nautilus. I will set up a shortcut to launch Nautilus. I will use the Y key, located next to the T key on the QWER keyboard, as the shortcut for launching Nautilus. I will unpin the file icon for Nautilus to display more applications in the dock. I will also unpin the help icon. Now you can launch Nautilus directly using the Ctrl-Alt-Y shortcut. Nautilus provides a toggle button in the title bar to switch between list view and grid view. The list view offers the ability to expand folders. Folder expansion must be enabled in the preferences for this to work. You can navigate directly to your desired path without moving through folder paths. Nautilus includes a new folder menu in the context menu by default, but not a new document menu. The new document menu is activated only if there are files in the templates directory. I will add a text document and a shell script to the templates directory. For the shell script, I will add a shebang to the first line. I will explicitly indicate that it is a bash interpreter. Now, the newly added templates will appear in the new document of the context menu. Thank you for watching.